and a very good afternoon to you all. Thank you so much for jumping in today to our Lunch and Learn. It's actually a really interesting topic today, and that is around hardware and all the changes we're experiencing at the moment in the hardware industry and why. We really have been thinking about doing something in this space for some time. To try and give our clients and broader an understanding of why they're seeing some of the volatility they have been seeing, and then how to actually work with that from a hardware procurement perspective to your advantage in your business. So I really want to thank Nick and Heber for coming today to be presenting on our Lunch and Learn. Nick is from Ingram, obviously the distributor or one of the distributors that we work with at the virtual IT department, and Heber is from Lenovo. So on the other side of the fence, what is it like to actually work with that hardware vendor? So without further ado, you didn't come from me. As always, the chat and the question and answer is open. Please do pop them in there and we'll make sure we throw your questions out there at the end. But otherwise, over to you, Nick and Heber.
So I just want to start off this presentation with this graph, and this is clearly not a stock market. This is the graph represents the pricing rise of DRAM. Kicked off from 2024, as you can see on the left axis, it's a price, and on the bottom, it's the years. It started off at 250 price marks about 2.5 years ago, and today we're looking at close to 1,250. That's extraordinary, significant increase in DRAM. So where this huge demand come from? We heard the top fives in US, such as NVIDIA, Meta, Microsoft, and Google, and so forth. I think they are investing ridiculous amount of infrastructure in their AI R&Ds and deployment. And they have forecasted 3 times more than what they usually do. And that's where the whole demand has shifted. And henceforth, the manufacturing plants in China, Taiwan, in Thailand are facing a huge amount of shortage on the certain things, specifically in DRAM and SSD. And henceforth, the consumer side and enterprise side has been given a second priority. And henceforth, we see so much of shortage and the prices crisis. So how today's supply chain shapes tomorrow's device decisions, right? It is very, very important that we understand and acknowledge there is a SSD and DRAM shortage. It's not just a headline, it's the reality, and we see this every single day. Specifically end users with the 20 to 250 seats, which sits between, say, about SMB mid-market section in Australia, are facing the most. First of all, Australia as a region is quite small as compared to Europe or US. So we kind of get a little lesser allocations from the plants. And on top of that, when you place the orders last minute, late orders, usually gets the last allocation due to the scale or the order size is quite significantly lower as compared to large enterprises. So market conditions demand earlier planning and smarter timing to avoid disruption. So I always advise my partners, such as Virtual IT and many others across the nation, that the time has changed and we need to act very quickly and promptly. You need to keep an eye on what you exactly asking for versus what we are and your partner is offering you in terms of the configs, and we have to act upon quickly. And this is where Ingram Micro and Lenovo is going to come in and play a vital role to educate the partners like VITG or yours, in order to explain you what is in stock, what are the prices, how often we can hold the prices, how much delay we can hold prices on, and so forth. This is where you need to come to us, and our partners needs to come to us in order to explain us where the scope is, so that we would be able to jump in ASAP in order to help you out.
Nick, I think it's important as well just to note that this situation that we face in the market it's industry-wide. It's not specific to Lenovo. You will find that all the major PC vendors globally are affected by this situation just Google or have a look at Tom's Hardware to see the impact of this on the market. And it reaches into other areas of technology around the world, whether that's memory for mobile phones, for electric cars, etc. It's not limited to Lenovo. It's very much an industry-wide issue.
100%, Hiba. Planning smarter and not harder, forecasting and config options. What I exactly mean by that? Forecast early, speak to us as early as possible. That helps us to allocate the stock, lock in the prices. Usually, prior to this episode or prior to this crisis, we used to have the prices locked in for quarterly basis. Today, those prices are gone. We are not able to lock in the prices. The bids are only valid for a week time, max to max 14 days. And every 14 days, we have to go back and refresh the prices. Based on the demand and the supply at the plant level, the prices are significantly going higher. I have seen going from 30% all the way to sometimes even plus 100%. So it is very, very important to bring the refresh cycle as early as possible and forecast early with your partner, with your reseller, and also with the distributor and the manufacturer. Choose alternative configuration. I have seen in many occasions end users like to specifically ask for a certain config, and that config is not readily available, and henceforth we choose to jump on the CTOs. But at this point, if we choose to go on a CTO option, we are rarely see a ETA or a manufacturing dates possibly on the CTO options. Henceforth, I would highly advise you to come to us, and we can advise you what is the alternative stock which is available in disti warehouses here in AU, which can satisfy the needs for your refreshes. That's on the IDG side. And what is ISG means? To just quickly tell you, ISG is a server and storage for server and storage industry. And in server storage, there is something called Top Choice Express, which is available from Lenovo, from the Ingram Micro as a distributor. Which helps you to find the right solutions designed by Lenovo, which are already in the stock at the plant. So rather jumping on CTO and creating your own solutions, please seek an advice from us, and we would be able to give you the right choice, which are available and at the price, at the right prices.
And I just want to add, because I know that people will be wondering, CTO is custom to order, not your chief technology officer.
Well done, Anna. Lifecycle-led strategy, right? So you've got to be very proactive in terms of what you are asking or what you're deploying at your workforces. My recommendation is considering Copilot Plus PCs has the better allocation, not only because they are the latest and greatest, but also all the manufacturers across the board, Lenovo, Dell, HP, Microsoft, Apple, they're all jumping on Copilot Plus PCs just because it is installed with the NPU along with the CPU. And NPU is the thing which is going to help you to drive your AI workforces eventually. Maybe at this time in point, your workplaces are not using AI as much as the other ones, but eventually, let me tell you, in 2 years' time, everyone will be using AI, and henceforth, Copilot Plus PCs are the ones to go for. It has the better allocation at the plant level and also with the pricing. The second guideline I would probably suggest you is considering the refresh strategy. I have seen many end users specifically asking for just a default 1 year warranty just to have the budgets in tight, or not to spend too much money on it. But we have learned from COVID time that we were in locked in time for 3-4 years. My recommendation is, if that time frame comes back again, we don't want to be in the same situations. My recommendation is, considering the time now, ask for 5 years on-site warranty, or 3 years, or default 1 year. That is going to protect you not only for next 5 years on-site, but also making sure the consistency in the machines will be intact. And last but not least, Ingram Micro, Virtual IT, Lenovo, and all other vendors who work with us closely are going to come in on stage on occasional basis every month, every quarter, to advise you So please participate in all kind of podcasts or any marketing events we are doing, which are there to help you, to guide you in what we see is how market is driving and where we see the demand and supply is falling. So that's pretty much I wanted to cover. I hope I've given you enough information to give you a thought to bring your refresh forward. And I'll just now hand over to Anna, and we'll wait for any questions you have.
I do have a few questions, so thank you to those who participated in raising your thoughts before when you registered for the session. One of those is around DRAM. So we keep hearing about DRAM shortages. Why does that matter for the non-technical person trying to make these technical decisions in their business? Why are we talking about DRAM, and what is it, and how is that actually impacting the availability of hardware?
Very good question. So DRAM is a very important component which goes in any kind of a machine which runs the workflow. You take an example of laptop, desktops, mobile phone. These days, the cars also have a computing system behind the panel. So every single request you send to your computer, in order to operate that, you need to have the RAM in order to process that workflow. And the more the RAM, the better the speed. So henceforth, the demand for the RAM is extraordinarily high right now. Because AI deployment strategy is growing daily basis. And as I said in the first slide, the big fives in US is investing in billions in their AI workflow, because they can see where the trend going, where the industry is heading, and they want to invest as much as they can at this point, at the level where they can grab the prices as cheap as possible, because they know that when the demand goes up, the price is going to go up too. So henceforth, the RAM manufacturing is not able to cope up with the demand they are sustaining, or demand overall in the worldwide we are seeing. And you cannot manufacture a computer or a mobile phone or a simplest, cheapest tablet worth of $100 without a RAM. You've got to have a RAM. It's a very important component in the computing system.
Yeah, absolutely.
The global RAM manufacturers, they've already sold out all of their capacity for the rest of this calendar year. So their factories are in such a large capital scale that they can only manufacture so much memory.
Yeah.
And all of that memory has already been sold out. And it's really to the highest bidder at the moment. So that's causing the inflationary pressure on pricing.
And we experience it every day. And I'm sure some of the clients on this chat have experienced it, where you get quoted a price one day and the next day it's completely different. And that can go both ways. Sometimes we're quoting and the price over there is way lower because they've bought up 6 months ago and are able to optimize the market and have decided to drop the price. And sometimes we're quoting a price today that tomorrow is increasing by 15-20%. So that's something that's really important to, I guess, hold in tension with all of this. A question I do have that came up while you were speaking, we talk about bulk buying, and sure, we can often, when people want to buy through us for more than 5 machines, we're going to leverage those vendors for better pricing to get the best price for the client. But really, it's common to need 1 or 2 machines, and a lot of people do approach their rollover strategy from that perspective. In this market, how do the people who are purchasing 1 or 2 machines get the best outcome in terms of pricing and value on the unit? What would you recommend they are looking at?
Very interesting question. I would highly recommend do not wait. The more you will wait, the more price you will pay. And I'll tell you how it actually started off. We kind of, as a distributor working with Lenovo so closely, we kind of anticipated this issue and a problem and a concern last year, somewhere early October. When we knew we're going to face this problem next year, first quarter, we started pumping orders with Lenovo AU, and Lenovo AU started pumping orders with AU globally and with APAC. Those orders which we put on Lenovo in October started landing with us, say about mid-November, early December last year. Now, why we loaded so much because we anticipated that this is going to come. And the other strategic movement for us was to grab cheapest price possible. So usually, just to give you an analogy, right? Usually for each quarter, we hold close to $20 million worth of stock just for the Lenovo in our warehouse. But today's day and age, we have increased our buying close to $50 million. So we have now, at this point, $50 million worth of stock sitting in our warehouse in AU. Why? Because if I choose to buy that same stock, same quantity, same box today, I'll be spending close to 80 million for the exact same quantity based on today's price. Henceforth, we jumped last year to buy those many quantities, those specific SKUs, because we can see, being in distributor, that what is the historical purchase across the nation from across all the MSPs around the nation. So we kind of can predict what is most buying products and what's not, and we have topped up the most buying products. Now, going back to the question of yours, Anna, let's assume for 1 second we have the demand for 2 devices, which is the Ultra 516, 512, just a basics kind of a config. If you come to me and ask for those 2 units today, I can give you those 2 units at the price we purchased October last year, because I have that machine in my stock. Assume you ask the same thing in end of June, I might have finished all that 50 million over the next 3 months, and now I have to place a new order just based on new order for the same machine, same box. I'll be cutting the price based on June prices, not based in last year's October prices. So same machine, same technology is probably going to cost you $400, $500 more expensive. And that's the significant gap for the same speed, same performance, same technology, same box, same machine. And henceforth, I urge you that if you have any need, which is coming in next month, next 2 months, do not wait just for 2 units. Rather, consider the whole strategy going forward for the whole year and buy now, because this is not going to end tomorrow. It's probably going to go prolonged 2027, end of 2027. So just be very cautious.
And I didn't, that's why I thought this was such a timely message. I don't want to bring the doom and gloom ever in IT. With the cyber message, it's easy to go there. With AI, it's easy to go there. Now with hardware. But I think it is so important that we're answering that question in terms of forecasting and future, because when the machines are gone, they're gone, and the pricing will escalate. Would you say another technique for our clients would be to have, I guess, baseline specifications that they need met, but carry a bit more of an open mind as to what kind of machine they purchase, and rather than always getting the same machine they've had for 20 years because that's the one, maybe having a certain spec level that they're happy with and that their MSP, us, can help them define for the role, but then carrying a bit more, I guess, open-handedness as to where that comes from because of the shortage?
It's a bit difficult to say without knowing the requirement of a user. Your company or end user's company might be doing very different tasks. So, for example, a clinic and a reception at the clinic doing the task as compared to an accountant doing the task. They're 2 different variety of work. They both work 8 hours, but the input and the output of that machine is totally different, and a workflow on that machine is totally different. So bare minimum, consider to go with a 16 gigabyte RAM. The 8 gig RAM is gone, long time gone, just even before the AI. So 16 gig and 512 is probably the standard now. So whether it's a reception or whether it's an accountant to whether it's a CEO, CFO, depends on, you've got to think about 16 gig bare minimum nowadays. So do not spend money and stick with the old school thoughts of sticking with the 8 gigabyte. I think that's not going to give you the outcome what you needed. Definitely not for next 2 years. So jump on and also ask for NPU. I mean, it's probably a buzzword for you, but let me tell you, the moment you start using your Copilot or Chat GPT and integrate those things into your daily routines, you're putting a lot of pressure on your CPU and a RAM. You need to have a third component called NPU, which is now available in the new machines. and that just takes care of the AI workflows, and runs behind the scenes. So it gives you better battery life and also a drastically better performance. So those are the two things I would probably recommend to consider when you're looking at buying.
Awesome.
And I would sort of recommend, despite everything that's going on in the market from a cost perspective, it's probably still a very valid, idea for your customers to profile their users like they always have. Like, have you got sales staff who are on the road who need, larger screen size? Have you got execs who are traveling who are after, strong and light PCs, etc.? And then once you've sort of evaluated the maybe 2 or 3 different types of personas in your organization, then work with your team to understand, okay, well, which is the right model? And then, obviously Nick and his team can help you select the right products to meet the needs of the users in your clients' organizations.
Absolutely. And I think this more and more we're going to see that grabbing a low spec machine from Aldi or JB Hi-Fi just is not going to cut the mustard anymore. It hasn't for a long time in our opinion, but we would say that. But even as our clients are starting to engage on their AI journeys, we're seeing machines be pushed to their limits, and that really increased requirement from a tech perspective in what they're purchasing for longevity. So really valuable insights. All right. I'm really aware of time. I'm thankful for everyone who's joined. Something that we do at the Virtual IT department, and it would be, we will reach out and touch base after this, is we do an annual rollover sale with our clients. We do that so that we can leverage bulk buy pricing across the client base for our clients and get them the cheapest hardware possible for the year. So your ITMs will be in touch to kind of get that work planning in terms of when you're going to do your rollovers and how we buy now to set you up for the next 12 months. And really, like you were saying, Nick, do it now so that you're not buying it and you $400 or $500 more later in the year. So we'll be in touch. We'll make sure that that opportunity doesn't pass anyone by. We want to get the best outcome for everyone. And we'll, of course, be working with Ingram in the background to make sure that we're putting various models in front of people that are of a spec that can do the work that you guys are doing, the important work that you're doing. Thank you, everyone, for coming. We really appreciate you making the time. We hope your lunch was delicious. And thank you, Heather and Nick, for jumping on the call and giving us those insights. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate your time. And yes, the recording will